Hello everyone. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my mantra practice. So earlier video, I talked about yoga and I talked about 4 different forms of yoga, and there's a lot there. There's a lot to grasp and a lot to understand. And to simplify it, most yogis only choose one of these paths to really focus on. And for me, it's been a lot of Raja Yoga, or yoga through mantras / breath work, and a lot of Bhakti yoga. Jana Yoga to me has come in the form mostly of audio through podcasts and listening to audiobooks, things like that. Admittedly, I'm not someone who is an avid reader, so most of my knowledge it does come from video, and I feel like in today's times we might as well, we have access to things like podcasts and all that we didn't have access to before, when the older generation just stuck with books. It's a new and exciting way, I think, to learn. And the karmic yoga way, those are just acts of selflessness, just things you can do during the day, picking up trash, and all the rest. So I'm going to be talking specifically about my yogic practice because I don't know everything. I just do my one practice and I speak on what I know. And my practice is just a 30-minute meditation in the morning. It can take an hour depending on how long the mantra is that I'm working on. And that's the other thing to note, is there are multiple different mantras that I'm working through. Basically, there is, as I explained, there are the 7 chakras: the root chakra, the sacral chakra, the Swadhisthana chakra, the solar plexus chakra, the Manipura chakra, the heart chakra, the throat chakra, the third eye, and the crown. So basically, this practice is the repetition of a mantra for I do 1 per month, so there's a total of 18 of them. And it's basically to work through the chakra system. You might be thinking, oh, well, there are 7 chakras and you're saying that there's 18. How does that work? Because wouldn't that be at least 14 if there were 2 for each? Well, yeah, you'd be right. So in addition to the 14, there are 7 chakras. There are it is split into the masculine and the feminine side. So there is a split between doing a mantra for a masculine deity first with the associated chakra, and this is basically to put protections into place when channeling that energy. And then the preceding month will be the feminine energy, which is a much more fierce and more powerful form of that energy. So the reason for the masculine one is to balance out the effects of the feminine version of the mantra. And so these mantras are associated to different deities, and the way to understand deities is really as energy forms. As if you can imagine in your mind, somewhere out in space, a big energy form, or a planet, that's actually how they are associated. The deities are associated to the various different planets in our solar system. So basically it's to say this is that planet's energy personified. So something like Hanuman representing Mars, that's kind of the idea, that the energy there on Mars is like Hanuman. And this is something that you can see parallelly if you go and look at the Roman, the whole Roman god system that they have there, the Roman panthology. They quite literally named the deities that they worshipped directly after the planets, like Venus and Neptune and things like that. So it's really the same idea, same concept. The Hindu deities are referenced because they're believed to be closest to source, or what exists on the causal plane of existence. So these other forms that were depicted would be seen as astral projection forms of these causal deities, meaning that they create forms, create avatars that relate to us culturally. That's why we kind of see a difference between the Hindu pantheon of deities and the Buddhist then counterpart of that. Meaning it's the same energies that are being worshipped, just in different forms. Back to what I was saying about there being 18. So I covered the 14. There's a masculine and a feminine in each. The heart has 4, and this is because of the pathways in the heart. So, the heart has 5, including the masculine element, but there are 4 feminine elements. There are 4 chambers in the heart, both physically and spiritually. So those all must be balanced out as well. And that is to say that there are 3 different forms of love. There's Kali, which is the fierce form of love. There's Bhaglamukhi, who is the form of love that basically protects us from slander, protects us from misusing words, protects us from things like even like political cases, is something that Bhaglamukhi will bless you with. Political or like lawsuits, things like that. She's also the force, the energy in our body that is like the creation of the creation of the cells, the creation of the cells, and like the stopping of the bad cells, the cancer cells. So there are impacts directly. You see how I'm relating the deities to chambers of the heart. I have not gotten to Bhaglamukhi yet. I'm on Bhuvaneshwari, which that was the name that I was supposed to say. So after Kali, there's Bhuvaneshwari. And Bhuvaneshwari is the form of love that is unconditional in form. Then there's Dhumavati, and Dhumavati is the form of love that's depressive in form, meaning that if you love someone and they're taken away from you, that grief that you feel is just the love of them not being there. All grief is you loving someone that's not there. So grief only exists because of the love that exists for that person that is not there. And then parallelly, that's 17 that I got up to. So because I explained that there's 3 additional in the heart. So that brings us up to 17. And that 1 additional, there's 2 feminine in the throat chakra, Matangi and Matara. Okay, so now to get into what I specifically do, what is this whole mantra process? That is what these Jaap malas are for. And so this Jaap mala has 108 malas on it because the idea is to chant the mantra 108 times. So this acts as a counter. If you have 54 beads, you can run through it twice. If you have something smaller, like just on your wrist, if you can divide it into a way where it's gets into 108, beautiful. If you don't have any beads, you can close your eyes and in the mind's eye, imagine the numbers every time you're chanting. Imagine it in the mind, the numbers going up. But yeah, all you'll really need is the Jaap mala. You'll need a plate and any food item, literally any food item. It can be whatever you want. It doesn't have to even be healthy. Should be healthy. What are you doing? But your favorite food item. So, for instance, I do love bananas. So I have this. It doesn't need to be in some glass container. Any plate will do. Right now, all of my plates are in the dishwasher. If it's something that you can hold on to, like a banana, you can do that as well, but it would make it kind of hard to hold on to the Jaap malas. I'm realizing this is out of the camera, but I'm just setting this down. Ideally, you're sitting on the floor and this is just sitting in front of you, okay? And so this is what you offer. So the idea is, if this banana were to disappear, like, you're good with that. And like, I'd be cool with that. Like, if I open my eyes and this banana's gone, yeah, please take this. And the idea is to do this with intent, to do this with purity, okay? That's why it's good if something that you're eating is pure, to kind of have that connection to it. But yeah, honestly, The one other thing you will need, which I didn't grab with me, I'll be back in just 1 second. It's just a blindfold. So basically you have this sitting out in front of you, sit in lotus cross-legged position, which you can't see, but you can look online what that is. I'm sure you probably all already know what that means. Okay, you'll set your food item down in front of you and put the blindfold on. And then that's it. It's just 30 minutes. Typically, I don't know why I give it a time. It could be way less. It's probably more like 15. But I'm gonna give you an example because right now I've been covering, the theme of this channel has been root chakra. And so Ganesha is associated with the root chakra. And so the mantra that I'll show as a demonstration today is one that anyone can say, because Ganesha is the starting deity, because the root chakra is the first chakra that should be balanced for everything to, work as it should. Okay, so the mantra that I'm going to share with all of you today is Aum Gam Ganapataye Namaha. I'm going to run through that 108 times on camera. Aum Gam Ganapataye Namaha. 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 Okay, well, you don't need to go that fast. The idea is to take it slow with this. But for the sake of the video, I was like, I don't know if anyone wants to sit through this whole additional thing. So I decided to try to cut it short. Okay, so now you eat the food item. And that's it. There is a guru mantra to say beforehand. And that is Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. If you've ever heard this before, you've definitely heard it if you've heard the song My Sweet Lord by George Harrison. It's like in the end there, it's the guru mantra. They were taught that by Maharishi, and he then went on to teach David Lynch, who opened up Transcendental Meditation. And Transcendental Meditation teaches Beeja mantras. And so what I was showing you is just a Nama mantra of Ganesha, which is very like safe mantra. And I say safe, not that the other mantras are dangerous. It's just that they're more potent, and basically if you're doing a day-to-day life, it'll kind of distract and take away from that if the body isn't prepared for it, because it's basically to say, hey, like this is a very intensive meditation. It's more demanding from you. So the reason why I don't share the Beeja mantras is because I still am learning to understand them. Traditionally, until you've done 1,008 malas, which is the one mala would be 108. So if you do 1,008 of them, there are some ways you can quicken that mastery by chanting within the mind, but you aren't really supposed to share these mantras until you've mastered them. And so that's kind of what you do in a mantra sadhana, is you go and learn to master each one of these mantras. And so until I've finished and completed the mantra sadhana, I'm not going to share it to anyone, because I respect them. I realize how well they worked and how well they've helped me, and I respect the fact that traditionally it's not shared publicly and not in the open. That's what I'm saying. Like Transcendental Meditation, you can go and they'll sell them to you if that's the route you want to take. I'm going to leave a link to Chant Central in the comments. That's basically where I learned all of my mantras from before I started the mantra sadhana. And so there are things like Gayatri mantras and Nama mantras that you can use. There are different mantras you can use unassociated to the deities. There's one that is Loka, Samastha, Sukhino, Bhavanthu. And that basically is just meaning, may all living beings be enlightened, may their consciousness be raised. And yeah, the one that I just did with Ganesha is one for grounding. It's one for removing all obstacles in physical space. So you chant this in the morning and you'll realize that your day is going to go super easy, super well. If you try this in the morning, the best time to do this is 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. during Brahma Muerte time, if you are able to wake up at that time. The thing is, you can wake up at 4 a.m., fall right back asleep after you're done. And as you can see, what I just didn't take me that long. So you can wake up, do that, fall asleep, and that's it. Like that's all that has to be done for your day, and then you go on the rest of your day. So it's very easy. The other time you can do it as well is between 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. If you don't want to wake up that early, don't blame you. You can really fit it in whatever time, but these times are the most potent. And that's the thing, experiment with it and then realize what it is that I'm saying when I say potent. So yeah, just the best times to do it. It's like, around sunrise and sundown almost, but yeah, so I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I should mention in this video. All this is unscripted. I just am looking at my phone camera right now. Yeah, I think the next video I'm going to explain the deities more. I'm going to revisit the root chakra as well. I'll revisit it here a little bit actually, because I do feel good right now to talk a bit more. So basically, an imbalanced root chakra, this can be caused by environmental discomforts, things that are not stable in your environment, whether it's not having a stable job, whether it's not having shelter and security, not having adequate food, maybe having an overactive root chakra where it's an overabundance of food, overabundance of sleep. It's not lack, but it's more of an abundance. So there are things that fit into these categories, like different eating disorders can be associated with imbalanced chakras, meaning an overactive one eating too much, or an underactive one eating too little. So it's important that we balance these things. And that's the thing, is there can be so many different medical or scientific ways for how we do this, but clearly as medical and sciences advance, that people are getting sicker and sicker, and there is no real way to balance the idea. If we think of mind, body, and soul, how are we balancing that soul part of ourselves if not through yoga? But truly, like, the mantra is the best way to explain this. Is it's both breath control and it's creating different vibrations to these different energy centers. If you really slow down the mantras, you can feel the energy and where it's coming from. For instance, the word Om. Om is seen as the primordial sound. Primordial sounds are basically the Beeja mantras, which are these seeds. They're seen as these seeds that are one step away from conscious. Meaning, the best way to explain how Beeja mantras came to be is, a long time ago, there were these ancient people who basically realized the idea that negative words have a negative effect, positive words have a positive effect. If you call someone malicious and a threat, or you call them a beautiful angel, you can see how these words, right, have meaning to them and feeling to them. So these ancient rishis and sages were like, okay, let's go and venture out, kind of like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, where they're trying to find the best music out there that'll unite everyone. These ancient sages basically went within to experience higher planes of existence, experience source. They went within so they could experience the cosmos. So their whole thing was, what sounds can we take? So the ancient rishis, their whole thing was, what sounds are the purest, happiest, most uplifting, powerful sounds that we can find? When they went to these causal planes, these are the sounds that they recorded and written down and that they heard. And these are the Beeja mantras. These are the sounds that they uncovered. You can search up Beeja mantras, you can look them up, you can see them all for yourselves, but I just don't feel comfortable sharing them, because I hear a lot. It's like, hey, don't share it like publicly, just because people can look it up online, but really there's a preparatory process that goes into it, which is chanting that guru mantra, and it's something that is, in a sense, sacred. So going around sharing something that is sacred to you, while it may not cause immediate damage, it kind of takes away the specialness of the fact that you're handling something that has been passed down through generations and generations. There's almost a responsibility when it comes to handling it. And as we all know, with great power becomes great responsibility. Thank you all for watching. Jai Mahakal.